and welcome to Wilder Outdoor Academy. In today's lesson, I'll show you how to make a fishing or frogging gig. So what is a gig? If you're not from the South, this might be new to you, but it's basically it's like a four-pointed, multi-point spear that you use for hunting small animals, usually frogs or fish. So where my family was originally from, in rural Kentucky, frog gigging is just what you do on a Friday night. So just to clarify, this is for hunting. This is a method for killing an animal that you plan to eat. So it is not a toy, but it is a very cool project, especially if you are interested in finding your own food. So to build this gig, you'll need a few things. The first is going to be a long, about 6 feet or so, a piece of green wood. So I just cut this morning. The reason we want it green is because it's still bendable, right? If it's fresh and it's still close to being alive, the wood will move in ways where we can shape it. The other thing you're going to need is some kind of blade. I'm going to use my pocket knife. You could use a small hatchet, something like that, but something to split the wood with. You'll need 2 small sticks. And I'm going to use some wire, but you can use anything that you can sort of cinch around the end of your gig. So it could be a zip tie, it could be a twist tie. Again, I'm going to use some wire. So the first step, you got to be real careful with this, because if this slips, you could really hurt yourself. So always try to cut away from yourself and have some space between you and whatever blade you're using. But we're going to take the thin end of our stick, and I've got a little saw blade on my knife that I'm going to very carefully, without slipping and cutting my hand here, drive that little blade into the wood lengthwise. And what I'm going to do after I do that is I'm going to take a piece of wood, get back in that groove. This is kind of like a hammer. You could use an actual hammer. I'm going to take it and I'm going to hammer my knife. I'll show you what that does in just a second. Again, trying really hard not to slip or cut myself. Once I get that in, I can take that knife and use some whatever tools I have at my disposal. I might use this bench. Push it down onto the blade, because again, I don't want to cut myself. But the goal here is going to be to split this wood this way, and then at 90 degrees I'm going to split it the other way. And so you can see here I've split my wood. The knife has gone in this way, and then at 90 degrees it's gone through the opposite way, and it's gone through about 8 inches. I'm going to put my knife away. Always, when you're not using your knife, always make sure your blade is tucked away. The next thing I'm going to do is take my 2 sticks. I'm going to put them inside the cuts I just made. So I'm going to take this stick and slide it in this cut. So I've put 1 stick through here. I'm going to put another stick through the other direction. I'm going to use these to open up the 4 pieces that I just cut. Here you can see I've opened up my stick. I've created prongs that I'm going to use to stab the fish or the frog. Essentially, you spear it down into the ground. Once I have my sticks in, I want to secure them. I'm going to do that with my wire. I'm going to wrap it around above the sticks. Make sure it's real tight. This is going to make sure that those sticks don't accidentally pop out. Again, you can do this with a zip tie or anything else that you can tie very tight. So I'm just going to twist these pieces together, point them down, and now I have a stick with 4 prongs. My last step is I need to sharpen each of these prongs. I'm going to take my knife, again, cutting away from me. Some of this bark needs to go, but cutting away from me, I'm just going to sharpen each side of it. It helps when you're sharpening it to cut, if you can, cut along the sides, start towards the end. We want these to be real sharp because we're going to be using this to spear our fish or our frogs. I'm going to do this for all 4 sides. All right, so I've sharpened all 4 points, and you can see I have a fishing gig or frogging gig. Now you're going to use this to jam the animal in between these stakes and drive this into the ground. So if you're doing this with fish, it's worth looking up the word refraction, refraction, because you'll actually have to aim in a spot where it looks like the fish is not, but that's because of the way that light travels through water. But yeah, it's a great introduction to finding your own food if you're interested in hunting, but don't want to invest in some of the more dangerous or more expensive methods. This is a great way to start getting your own food. There you go. Fishing and a frog gig.